Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Thank you so much for coming back for another episode. And yes, we are now finally talking about pruning. Thank you so much for patience. I know this episode is long overdue, but thank you so much for patience. And those of you that ask, when is pruning happening? It's happening now. But thank you to those of you who may have liked, shared, subscribed, reached out, encouraged. I really, really do thank you and appreciate your support. When we talk about pruning, the question that comes to mind is really what needs to be trimmed so I can bear fruit. And just to set the record straight, there's a difference between pruning and weeding. When you talk about weeding, it is more or less when something unfamiliar comes amongst your plants and then you uproot it and throw it away. What we're pruning is something that comes from your plant that may need to be trimmed or removed just for growth. So our anchor bearing is taken from John 15 verse 2, which states that he cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it can be ever more fruitful. So like the message here is you prune to become more fruitful. And when you think of the concept of pruning, it's one of the most misunderstood practices in gardening, and I think in life generally, because at first glance, it looks like loss, reduction, or even damage. But every experienced gardener knows that pruning is essential for healthy growth and lasting fruit. Without pruning, plants become overcrowded, unfocused, and less productive. In the same way, life can become filled with commitments, habits, and expectations that slowly drain energy and limit growth. This lesson just explores how learning to let go with intention creates space for clarity, strength, and a healthier, more fulfilling life. And this we're going to do things a little bit different here for this episode. Let's now look at practical examples. And practical examples when we're looking at the gardening, we're going to talk about three things. One is suckers, that is unwanted growth. Two, we're going to look more in terms of overcrowding, i.e. the right kind of growth, but too many of it. And then three, growths that are unhealthy, that's still part of it. And when you talk about suckers, in gardening, you usually have like one major stem, that's the one that usually the horizontal, and then you also have other vertical stems. And suckers tend to grow between those two. It's just like a little leaf that comes out that produces no fruit, but sucks nutrients from the plant. So, with suckers, gardeners know to trim it off as soon as it comes because it is still the idea of a distraction. And instead of the energy going towards the things that matter, it's there taking up energy or things like that. That is similar in life. Whatever it is you're doing or that shows up, what is its essence? Why is it there? Is it adding value? Is it beneficial? If it's not, I think you should trim it. Second, we now go with the idea of being overcrowded. Now, sometimes you have plants that have branches that grow too close together. That is like the good, and they're healthy, like the good things coming together. But when it brings that like that, it blocks sunlight and it reduces air circulation. So the dense growth ends up weakening the plant and increases the risk of disease and limits the size and the quality of flowers of fruit. So to keep the fruit healthy, the gardener goes trims off some of even the healthy branches, so at least there's a little bit of space in for air to circulate, for fruit to grow, for sun to come in, those kind of things that nourish the plant. Thinking about it in life, how many good things do you have on your palette that you're doing? Because the truth now becomes, it might be a good. I'll use this. It may be a good activity you add to your schedule. Yes, beautiful. But then how much time does that leave you? Because when you end up doing too much of a good thing, you not end up enjoying the benefits of all the good things that you're doing, even though they are good things. That's still the idea of pruning. So prune, limit, cut off, let go, those kind of things. And then the second concept with pruning we're going to look at is like the unhealthy. Yes, even with the plants, sometimes you're growing your plants and you have some leaves or some branches that are unhealthy. And you can see they're unhealthy by their color, by their looks. And sometimes they even die. And that really just goes with the idea of even though they're dying or they're not healthy, they are still connected to that plant. So they will still take up energy. And because they're not as healthy as the rest of the leaves, it is more susceptible to diseases and infections. So to maintain a strong plant, a gardener will cut those off as soon as they appear. And apart from cutting them off as soon as they appear, they regularly check their plants to help ensure that nothing unhealthy is in there to prevent your produce and your future fruit. Practical example: how much time do we spend on our phones doing what we don't need to do? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying social media, whatever it's on your phone, is a bad thing. But how much time, when does it come from being healthy to unhealthy? Whereby it's taking away your time for sleep, taking away your time from other things that are more beneficial that end up suffering. So those kind of things you prune and then you let go. So something to note with gardening is to prune is a deliberate act. Sometimes for a gardener, it is quite painful, especially when you are pruning mainly because of overcrowding. So it's a good thing, but you know it's not beneficial to your plant and you have to cut it off. But the gardener knows what it is that is the intention, and that's what keeps the gardener focused on what is there. And when that is done, you're able to get to what's beneath the surface, and the strength of the plant is then being redirected. So, bottom line, pruning makes space for deeper roots, stronger stems, and healthier fruit. In life, pruning also unfolds in similar ways. God does not remove what is obviously harmful. He sometimes asks us to let go of what is familiar, comfortable, or even productive if it is no longer aligned with His purpose. These seasons may involve loss, correction, or unexpected change. They can feel painful, confusing, and sometimes unfair, especially when we do not yet see the outcome. Yet God's pruning is never random or punitive. It's a refining process rooted in love, designed to free us from excess so that our faith, character, and calling can grow with greater clarity and strength. So I will repeat again. Sometimes God will ask us to let go of something that is familiar, comfortable, or even productive if it no longer aligns with His purpose. So some good things may need to be cut off. So just have that in mind. When it comes to pruning, not necessarily just letting go of only the bad or the not so good. Sometimes you also have to let go of the good to get something even better. So we're going to talk about 5 steps to embrace and prune properly. And the first step is to first of all notice what is crowding your space. Just like plants, life can become overgrown with commitments, habits, expectations, schedules, to-dos that quietly drain energy without adding real value. When too much competes for attention, growth becomes scattered and stagnated. Take an honest look at what fills your days and notice what consistently leaves you feeling stretched, distracted, or depleted. Invite God into the reflection, asking for clarity to recognize what needs to be trimmed so that healthier growth can take place. Step 2, recognize the purpose behind pruning. Pruning requires trust because it involves change before results are visible. It is not about loss or toning down or letting go for the sake of loss, but about redirection and refinement of core values. Removing excess creates space for healthier growth, clearer priorities, and stronger foundations. When pruning is viewed through the lens of love and intention, it shifts from feeling like punishment to more or less preparation for what is coming, shaping what remains so it can grow with purpose and strength. Step 3 is release promptly and deliberately, one cut at a time. I'll say it again. Release promptly, deliberately, one cut at a time. A gardener prunes with intention and proper timing, making careful decisions, decisive cuts that supports the plant's long-term health, rather than removing everything at once. In the same way, pruning in life happens best in stages. Choose one area to reduce, pause, or let go of, and focus on that change. Small, deliberate adjustments create space for healthier patterns, renewed strength, and more sustainable growth. Don't do it all. It's okay, fine, no. Because of this, I'm going to completely stop. Yeah, some people have the willpower to stop all at once, but most people, you start by reducing. It's a journey. It's not necessarily, it takes time. It doesn't happen just like that. Same thing, if you say you're going to prune, pick one area at a time. Don't say I'm pruning everything because you'll feel empty and just empty. So pick one deliberate action. Maybe do one area of life, one action a week. Start small and then build on it. Don't just go, okay, fine, I'm cutting everything, because your plant will, your plant will be bare, there will be nothing there to support any growth. Step 4, nurture what remains. After pruning, plants are bare. They're not bare. There's a bit of energy. There's a bit of space, and they need care to recover and grow stronger. So when you have pruned and let go of the things that are not healthy, invest more intentionality in what is already working well in your life. Strengthen your roots through prayer, scripture, wise community, productive routines, and practice. They will bring clarity and peace. Be mindful of what you allow back into your life, protecting your heart and habits from returning to old patterns that won't crown your growth. It's very easy to, okay, now let me give an example of a schedule, for example. If you feel, oh, your schedule is now too much, you're doing one too many things, and then you remove 3 activities of that for a week. So you basically now have, let me see, an hour a week. No, an hour 3 times a week to yourself, 3 hours a week. What are you going to use that time for? Don't remove something only to replace it with something of equal or less value. No. Find the balance. What you have remaining, what's left behind, nurture it well. And step 5 is wait with expectation. Fruit does not appear immediately after pruning. And sometimes waiting can feel, most times waiting can feel uncomfortable. Always remember that growth happens quietly behind the scenes, beneath the surface, before anything appears. Be patient with the process, trusting that the temporary discomfort is strengthening you and redirecting your energy. And in time, healthy growth will show, and you will be more in line and in tune with living a more fulfilled life and bearing more fruit. So, this week, homework action item or action time. So, set aside quiet and uninterrupted time to reflect on one area of your life that may need pruning. Take it one as a one. I told you before, it can be, okay, fine, you're going with your career, you're going with your relationships, you're going with your community, you're going with your profession, like the different things. Just pick one. Ask God for clarity to show you what is crowding, draining, or is misaligned. If you can, some people like to write, some people don't, but write your thoughts down to bring focus, and then pray over them and commit them to God, asking for wisdom and courage. Courage, you know what to do, but it's always about courage to actually do it. Then consider small practical changes you can make to release, adjust, or refocus. Trust that these thoughtful changes will create space for healthier growth and better results over time. Assess your areas little. I don't know, say little drops of water make a mighty ocean. That's the concept. Little steps to get where you're going to. And a reminder for this week is taken from Hebrews 12, verse 11, which just says that no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a habit of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. So seasons of pruning are not pleasant. It can be painful sometimes. especially when you're letting go of some of the good. But understand that there is a harvest at the end. So that's all. If you would like any additional resources to talk about pruning, please feel free to reach out, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, and do have yourself a wonderful day. Bye bye.